And welcome to the Destiny Nerds podcast. My name is Bearded Luke.
I'm Havoc.
And this is Pattycakes. He's our guest today.
What's up? This is good. This is so bad.
He's not a real pancake.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that in the past at some point.
Yeah.
Hi, Pat. Shake it out. All right. So, again, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to go over the TWAB. It's got some controversy. A lot of people are like not happy. Again, it's the Destiny community, so we're not surprised by it. But before we dive into that, again, Pat, with every guest that we have here, we kind of want to know your journey with Destiny, what got you into it. I know you do content creation over on your YouTube. We'll talk a little bit about that. But like, where did you start, and what have you been doing with Destiny up to this point? I mean,
yeah.
Tell us about you.
Let's get into it. Okay, so I've been playing FPS games like majority of my life at this point. I played like a bunch of like, you know, the old school like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Counter-Strike, Halo, all of the different ones. And then I got into Destiny around, I guess it was like the first few days of Destiny 1. I missed the beta, unfortunately. I was on a trip for that, so I didn't get to play that. But then I dove into the game, and I kind of had taken a little break from gaming right before that. And I got really into Destiny 1, though. It just hooked me, and I played relentlessly, probably more than I should have. I had a business I was running at the time, and I definitely put more hours into Destiny than I should have been. But, you know, I was just in love with it. Yeah, it was so fun. I remember, I mean, that was the first time I'd ever done a raid. Like I kind of missed the WoW, all the big, MMOs that people were playing back in the day. I just never really got on that train. And so like raiding in Destiny was the first time I ever experienced a raid. And so I was just hooked. And I loved the PvP. It was so fun playing like Iron Banner and Trials when that first came out and everything. So I've just been a Destiny addict ever since. And then I guess about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, I started streaming it because I had a bunch of friends who were in my clan, and they always wanted to watch me play PvP. And I never really aspired to be like a streamer or content creator or whatever, but I started streaming and had a lot of fun with it. And then I kept getting the same questions over and over and over again when I would stream PvP stuff. People would ask me like, how do you get better at sniping, or like how do you get better, more consistent? How do you win more games? And so I turned that into an opportunity to make a YouTube channel, start kind of answering those things more in depth than I could on like a short stream. And so that kind of, has taken me to where we are today, where it's been, my last like 2 years of my life. I put a lot of time into it. So it's been
Heck yes. So in chat, like, not chat, but anyone listening, sorry, that was a bad habit. Anybody that's listening or watching anywhere, that's my bad. I would just say chat. This man is not like just Pattycakes. Like, this is a legit YouTuber that is chilling with us right now. And he's going to hate that I say this, but right now, as of this recording, he has 67,000 subs on YouTube. That is like super hard to do. That's not just like, oh yeah, I got 67,000. Like, he has really good content and a lot of people like it. Like, even you guys that are listening probably have seen his stuff. It's super good. So I'm thankful for your content for my own, like for sniping. I've watched some of your videos that's helped me become better at sniping. I'm not good anymore because I depended so much on recoil.
I've seen you hit some shots. I would debate that.
This season has been rough because they took away a little bit of that aim assist. So like last season, like I really could tell because I play at 4 sensitivity on a controller, which is
okay. Yeah.
I'm just like I don't know. I'm a noob. But anyways, I'm pumped to hear that about your story. I'm pumped that you're here. Yeah. We all love Destiny, even whenever it's in its dark days, which is kind of where we're at, I guess, right now.
It happens every year, man. There's always dark days every year. So I guess that's the one constant when it comes to Destiny.
It is. Yeah.
There is that drought that people speak of. So before we jump into the meaty TWAB, so obviously you said you started on D1, you missed out on the beta, missed out on the alpha. So what was the first Guardian you made? Was it a Hunter, Warlock, Titan? The first one you made?
So I have kind of a funny story with this. So my first one was a Hunter. I really debated on which one I wanted to start with because I wasn't really sure. They all looked pretty fun. I made a Hunter and I was playing it and I was like having a lot of fun with it and playing some PvP. and I got to like level 10, I think it was, and I played this Striker Titan in PvP who got like a 6-man kill with a super. And I was like, what the heck was that? Then he just came in and, you know, crashed my whole team on like a control point or something. So then I was like, okay, screw this. I'm going to make a hunter or make a Titan. So then I played Titan for like, you know, I got him up to like level 10 as well. And then I was playing more PvP, and the original Blade Dancer was like, I think you unlocked it at level 16 in D1. And I remember playing a PvP game where this Blade Dancer came in and just decimated our entire team with that blink shoddy playstyle. And I was like, just blown away. And so I switched back to my hunter, and I've never looked back.
Yeah, yes.
I've been a hunter main since that day.
That's what
I'm a little hurt. At one point in that story, I heard Warlock. So
you know what? I did. I also had a moment with Warlock. I had dual Warlocks going during hard mode Vault of Glass.
I ran 3 Warlocks.
I know. Well, I couldn't get rid of my hunter, but yeah, I actually, that was the first character I got to 30 because of, you know, back in the day you could swap. Or you could, you know, put all your gear on the second Warlock and run hard mode, and that was the first one I got up to level 30 for Vault of Glass hard mode. So
heck yeah,
I do have a soft spot for Warlocks for that reason too. Pushing good old Atheon off the ledge.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my first. That was actually my first VOG clear. Someone
pushed
needed
him
help.
off.
Yeah, there was a strat where with the Warlock, I forgot where it was, a grenade. I forgot which one it was. I think it was the Vortex grenade or something.
That one and the solar one, I think both worked. Yeah,
you got to get him to the edge, and it would just push him off. And yeah,
two of my like best gaming friends, literally, I met because of that technique. I've been friends with them. It was like an LFG raid back in the day, and they picked me up just because I knew how to do that, or I thought I knew. I wasn't actually sure, but I tried it and it worked out, and we've been friends ever since then.
That's amazing. So
yeah.
I guess it's safe to say, and I know this, but you're a PvP main. I mean, you probably play PvE, but you love like, PvP.
I love all of Destiny. I like PvE in the first part of a season, like when a new raid comes out. Like I will level, like power level, like with the best of them. Like I love that power grind. But once I've sort of like gotten up to like max level, beaten the raid, done whatever, that I kind of am over it at that point, and then I normally switch focus to PvP, which is kind of where I'd say that's where my bread and butter these days is. But I do actually really like, some players like are just strictly PvP and they don't like PvE. I'm actually pretty balanced. I like both. I feel like there's not really much incentive for me to play PvE after a certain point. Like once I've kind of gotten that first level grind out of the way, then it's just like, I don't know, what is there to do? So I'm not the type of person who wants to run the raid like 1,000 times to speed run it. Like I just want to like do it initially to kind of experience it, and then I usually move to PvP after that. So
do you have a background in PvP? Like what did you, I know I've talked to you about this before, but you're like a really skilled mouse keyboard player. Did you play a lot? I mean, I think you are, but did you play a lot of PvP like in other games?
Yeah, so I grew up playing Counter-Strike like at a pretty competitive level for a long time. I used to play in a lot of like tournaments and leagues and stuff like that back in the day. And yeah, I played, you know, different Battlefield games and stuff like that. And so I feel like I have, you know, a lot of experience with mouse and keyboard. I actually feel like I was pretty good at it when I was younger, and then I took such a long break from it because I moved over to playing console for a long time. So over the last like 5 or 6 years since I started playing mouse and keyboard again, it took a little while to kind of get back into it. But now I love it. I can't really go back to controller. I'm a hardcore mouse and keyboard addict now.
Heck yeah.
Well, don't worry, we'll talk about that.
I can't wait to hear about this in a little bit.
Yeah.
Sick, dude. Well, this is exciting. Let's talk. So say Havoc, you can lead, but I'm ready to talk about this TWAB. I want to talk about this.
Yeah, we're gonna go through it before we get to the main portion of the TWAB. So yeah, so we got the TWAB. Talking a little bit about season 13 coming up on February 9th. They're introducing a thing called seasonal challenges. Which is their way of combating FOMO, because that was a big problem. And last year, if you miss out like any part of the weeks during a season, you missed out and all that stuff. So this is their way to, you know, to combat it a little bit. Going over it, I mean, it's basically how we always called Destiny. The way Destiny is like your what's my to-do list, and that's basically what it looks like for the week. Like week 1, 0 out of 10. So what's my to-do list for this week? So you know, got all these challenges laid out for you. And it goes week by like for about the first 10 weeks. So like yeah, it's basically a to-do list. Like I live that's basically what it is. How do you guys like? Do you guys care really about seasonal challenges? Does it do anything for you?
I don't feel like it really does much for me, honestly. I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends lately, and they have like a similar kind of thing where there's like a week to week like checklist of stuff to do, and that helps you progress their battle pass to like get to the max level and get like the cosmetics and stuff. So like that game, you know, there's a purpose to it. I guess we'll wait and see, you know, how it actually plays out in Destiny.
It just looks like bounties to me. Like this just looks a list of bounties.
That's kind of
10
how
weeks
I feel
of bounties.
Yeah, I mean, they did win the weekly bounties from some of the vendors, and yeah, it's like I don't know. Like I guess we always say every week, let's just wait and see, wait and see, wait and see. So I guess we're waiting and seeing again.
I just know that we talked about this last time and other times.
We talk about this all the time, Luke.
Well, there's a specific thing is if they do this and then they make the loot that you get from it worth it, people will do this and this will matter. If this is just giving me bright dust and XP, I'm not going to do any of this. You can get to a level 100 really easily in this. I mean, unless you're trying to like speed run to 100, I guess so this would help. But I don't know. I like it for, this is who I do like it for. I really like it for new players who are just coming in because it lays it out a little bit easier for them and it puts them into things like different places. Like I have friends that are coming in. They're like, what the frick do I do? I'm like, I don't know. Look at the yellow things on your list and do them.
What does it tell you?
Yeah.
And this might help.
That's good. Yeah. That's very helpful for new players for sure.
Then it talks about like some bright dust changes, you know, again, things like people may care about, I guess, like different paths, the way to get more bright dust, which is nice, I guess, for Eververse. But that's the first few portions of the TWAB. Then we get into a change.
You say that whole first part is literally like all about just getting more XP.
And the next thing is back to the sandbox.
Yes.
And I'll just read this paragraph. Currently, several weapon archetypes have their recoil reduced by around 40%. So before we dive into this, and you guys play on PC, and correct me if I'm wrong. So currently on PC, mouse and keyboard, you don't really have much of a recoil on certain weapons. Like the stability thing pretty much doesn't exist because there's not much recoil.
It matters on some things, but it's compared to controller, it's much less.
So like hand cannon, like I like to use hand cannons, and there's so much kick. A mouse and keyboard, you don't really have that much kick on certain, you know.
Generally speaking, yeah. Yeah.
So, but I also know in other games on PC, let's say Call of Duty, there is actually recoil. So it's not like, is that? Am I right in saying that? Like in other.
Yeah, I would say Destiny is on the lower end of recoil compared to other Counter-Strike, for example, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, now they're basically nerfing, I guess is the word we'll use, mouse and keyboard to kind of comply with controller users. Because when crossplay comes, and everybody thought they had this belief of, you know, there might be an opt-in. Like if you want to play against PC players, opt in. If not, you know, because let's be honest, PC, you know, you get the most precision, all that stuff with the mouse. You're more precise. So compared to a controller. So they didn't want you to be at a disadvantage out the gate. So a lot of people were thinking, you know, after reading this, why wouldn't they just bring the controller up to where the mouse and keyboard is? And I understand that argument, and we'll get into you guys first, and I want to say my piece about it. I feel that Bungie, for the PC mouse and keyboard guys, they want you to care about stability. And that's why they did what they did. Because like that's just a thing. Like you said, like it's really not there on mouse and keyboard. Like, so I guess we'll go with Pat on this, being that you're a PvP guy, and you're a mouse and keyboard, and Luke has said you're godlike, I guess.
He is.
How do you feel like when you
I take that with a grain of salt. Okay, so my first initial impression was that I kind of agreed with what you said a minute ago, that I thought it made more sense to reduce controller stability or improve controller stability so that there wasn't as much recoil, because that's something that controller players have been, from what I can tell, have been asking for literally since Destiny 2 came out. Like I see complaints about that nonstop. I don't play controller very much, so like I don't feel like I have very good, feeling for like how good it should be or it currently is. But yeah, it's a complaint I see literally like every week. People in my YouTube comments are complaining, "Oh man, it's so easy on mouse and keyboard because there's no recoil. This controller has all this recoil." So like for that reason, like it made more sense to me to go the other way. I agree that the stability stat will matter a lot more now. And probably some weapons that you basically didn't have to pay attention to stability at all, like maybe some of like the 140 hand cannons, for example.
Yeah.
Stability will probably matter more. So like that's interesting. It'll make your choice a little bit. You probably can't just stack like pure range on every single hand cannon now. I was already going like higher stability on some of like the 120 hand cannons, which are really popular now because I felt like it kind of helped to be more consistent with them. So that I think will be even more important now. The bigger thing for me was that I feel like, especially after taking a little break from Destiny, playing other games like Battlefield and Apex and different things that have much tighter hitboxes where you actually have to hit the target instead of hit kind of near the target. That the games are just so much more rewarding in my opinion when you have to aim more precisely. And I feel like Destiny has like, I think that players miss a lot of like the like satisfaction of like feeling like you did a good job of aiming when there's so much aim assist on both mouse and keyboard and on controller. That I would have rather them, if instead of going this route, what I would have preferred them to do would be to reduce recoil a little bit on on controller, so that it was more in line perhaps with mouse and keyboard, but then on both devices cut the aim assist levels down, because I feel like that's a big problem in the game right now, personally.
Okay, and Luke, I know you're chomping at the bit. What do you think?
So when I read this, it says several weapon archetypes have their recoil reduced by around 40%. That's pretty intense when it comes to like nerfing something, especially an input that hasn't been nerfed. I don't think that they've done anything to M and K since it switched to PC. Not that.
Yeah, they didn't have to at one point.
I think the only reason they're doing it, like 100%, the only reason they're doing this is just speculation. It's probably true, but maybe not. Is like you were saying, cross plays coming, and they want it to be a more even playing field or whatever with controller players and mouse and keyboard players, which kind of makes sense because that's the whole giant debate constantly of no, why'd you buy a PC if you're just going to use a controller with it because mouse and keyboard and blah, this and that. I mean, there's games like Tarkov, there is no controller, you just use M and K, which makes sense. So like that. The two inputs is like something that like actually like, because you had console wars, which were two consoles. This is like having a war inside of something that's like complicated, because games are sometimes not made specifically for control. Like I was playing VR chat the other day. That's not made for me to use a controller on, so it's very difficult to use. Whereas like this is a game that started on a controller, then they added mouse and keyboard support. And they probably didn't build the game off the groundwork of mouse and keyboard. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. So this happening, it sucks for the entire mouse and keyboard community, because not only are they in a spot like this, probably if they would have done this like at a time when maybe like the game was like flourishing and there was a lot of crap coming out, people weren't as pissed at Bungie right now as they are. This is like stabbing people right now, basically, because there's a lot of the community that left. Like just straight left, like a lot of younger players that are like, and this is probably stereotyping, but there's like a lot of really talented PvP players that only play PvP on M&K, on Destiny, and they're like a lot younger, and they're really good, and they just pieced out, and they're not coming back. They're playing whatever else now, and then this happens, like they're definitely not coming back. I don't know what I've only played M&K. I played it for 3 months straight on Destiny just to give it the good college try. And I did enjoy it in PvE. I tried PvP, and it's really like Pat and Patty can attest that, like it's a lot of effort. Like he showed me Kovacs, like he like aim trains and stuff outside of Destiny. And I was trying to do that. And I'm like, dude, this is like legit, like like he said, hitting a target, like actually hitting a target for instead of just near a box is difficult. Like that's difficult for me. I'm not super talented at that, but I feel really bad for the mouse and keyboard community, to be honest. Like I know it's not its own community. Maybe it is. I don't. Maybe there's a Discord
I think it is. So is it safe to say that after you read this, Luke, about the nerf, that you know what, I'll just stick to controller now.
Well, yeah,
no free to use mouse and keyboard anymore.
It depends. Sometimes I play PvE with MNK because I can move faster and I'm fine with it on there. Playing against humans is a whole different world than ads.
True.
So I'm definitely gonna stick to controller for PvP. But I did give a bunch of my friends crap, like, oh, yeah, look how
I saw it. I saw it on your Twitter, man.
My friends were saying, like, I practiced for 8 months to learn that. I'm like, well, that sucks for you. I'm on the controller.
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know, but so the problem is I'm like seeing it from both sides. I get why they're doing it, but it also stinks because it's like a really big reason that a lot of people that play on PC enjoy playing Destiny, probably because it's really precise to use a mouse and keyboard and it's fun.
Yeah.
The movement's not going to change probably.
The game feels really good on mouse and keyboard. Like it's just fun to play on it. It feels, they did a really good job implementing the mouse and keyboard controls. So
I agree.
I think that you're onto something really big, which is, I made a video about this too. That was a major point I have. I feel like the timing of this announcement is just awful. Like,
oh yeah,
the Destiny PvP is in
it's taking L's
a really bad spot right now. It's just like the PvP community has been so vocal about the two biggest issues for like higher level PvP being 3-peaking, especially in things like trials, and then the cheating is just rampant on PC. It's to the point where if you play a trials card, like let's say you play 2 to 3 trials cards, you're almost guaranteed to come across a cheater. Like it's really bad. And I feel like, for them to like make an announcement like that without even like mentioning either of those other two problems beforehand, it's just like a stab in the heart for PvP players who are pretty dedicated, because it's just like, come on guys, you're not going to talk about this still. And luckily Cosmo has been talking more about the 3-peaking stuff on Twitter recently, so that's nice to see. But it's just that I think the timing of it, with like everyone feeling already kind of so not so great about Destiny PvP, and then to see an announcement like that is just not great.
Yes, and that's another thing I was gonna say, is that like it's bad timing, exactly, like because whenever I saw this happen, what I saw from this TWAB was people saying like, please edit, just say something is going wrong, like give us a crumb. Just say something is going wrong, like stop ignoring it, which we talk about every week, and we talked about it with Clintus on a podcast about how it's like, I hope they've been working on something for 2 years and soon they're just going to be like, here it is. This is why we didn't say anything. Like there are people that are working at Bungie. Their job is to work on PvP and no one ever says anything about it. Like,
yeah, that's the optimist. I mean, I'd love to see something cool like that too, but I just, it's just hard, I think, especially with the sunsetting stuff. Like we lost a lot of maps. They haven't really brought a good, like what most PvP focused players would consider to be a good map since the game first came out, like in Destiny 2 beta at times. Like pretty much the favorite maps are like Endless Vale, Javelin, Dead Cliffs, a bunch of D1 maps that came back, and it's like, it's just, not only did we lose a bunch of maps, but like they haven't introduced a new good map in a long time now, and it's like the competitive playlist is kind of a joke. Like when you compare it to games like Overwatch and Valorant and CS that have like a true ranking system, like the Destiny competitive system is a joke in comparison.
Oh yes.
And it's just it's too bad, because there's a lot of players who love, like I love Destiny PvP. It's so fun. It has like movement and sandbox feel that no other game has, but it's just unfortunate that there's like such a lack of like incentive to play it, and then on top of that you have all these issues that have just persisted for so long, like the 3-peaking and cheating and whatnot. So I just feel like it's in a pretty rough spot in comparison to like what it could be, and I think that's the frustrating part, is everyone realizes how good the game could be, and then we kind of look at like where it actually is, and then you make announcements like this on top of that, that just like, I have a lot of friends who say that they'll never play again. It's hard to see, but
I know. I see a lot of people saying that.
They'll be back.
Yeah, they'll come back. Everybody's like, I uninstalled, I'm never playing again. Sure.
I agree. I don't know. I think I've just been around it for so long now that I know it's a very cyclical game. It goes through ups and downs, and this is another down, and like probably in a few months they'll have something really cool and a bunch of people will be back. But it's just like, I don't know. It is tough to see news like that when it's in a bad state already.
Yeah, because I think a lot of and it's not even just because we don't like what we're seeing. I think the Destiny community feels like they're not being listened to in general. I mean, I don't usually like suggest anything because I'm pretty sure no one's reading my tweets about, hey, can you please not nerf my swords for PvE because they're fun to use and you're making the game less fun. Like, they're probably not reading that. But so many people give input daily, weekly, in YouTube videos, on Twitter, on TikTok, on these podcasts, and Bungie sees it.
There's something to that. I think they care more about. Here's the thing, and I saw someone tweet about this. I forgot who. I want to say it was Paul Tassi. I'm not sure. Could be somebody else. But I think they're more. What's the word I'm looking at? They're more looking at the numbers and the analytics compared to what the feedback they're getting from the community. Like, yeah, swords. Yeah, 65%. Well, swords are over. They're powerful. Well, we can agree on that. But the reason why they're so high up there to begin with, just the raid alone, like, you're doing a lot of damage. A lot of the swords, besides the end boss, you're using swords a lot. Like Atrax, like Lament. That's all you really need. Like, so you're using swords for a lot of things. As you know, and it was, as someone also pointed out, how when Guard Salvation came out, and at the time, snipers were used a lot because the boss would be far away. And then what did Bungie do? They nerfed snipers. So
I feel like
the number rise. If anything, they bring it down.
They're having so much fun. Let's make it less fun.
Yeah, they pay more attention to the numbers of what's being used a lot and what's not being used, because they want and I understand they want people to use other things. I get that. But at the same time, you know, there's also more important things. Like, who really cares about a weapon being used? There's more problems going on with your game than what's being used the most and what's not. That their number analytics is too much high on their priority list, and it shouldn't be.
I agree. I've actually felt like that's a problem that they've had literally since the game first came out, where they seem to balance things based on analytics and statistics, and almost like ignoring the context that would make those statistics make sense. Like you just said with the different boss like engagement distances. So it's like, and I think the same thing happens in, you know, PvP too, with the way they've balanced different things. And it's like they'll wait until something's like statistically used, like one-eyed mask, for example, stuff like that, until they nerf it, or mountaintop. It's just like you could pull like, you know, a variety of like, you know, very dedicated players and get like a hot list of, you know, the top 5 to 10 problems at any given time, and they're going to be pretty consistent from player to player. You know, things like, again, things like mountaintop, one-eyed mask for the past like year or so. And it's just, it's frustrating as a very dedicated player to not have those things get addressed more quickly, when it's like what are you waiting for? You're waiting for that to become like 25.1% usage and then you can nerf it? Like, let's just, you know, take action a little faster.
I'll never understand it.
And what would make it okay? Like, even if, so what would probably, for me specifically, I'm pretty easy to please, but if they just like gave a little bit more communication as to why they use stats so much. Like, they just, like, they put like a sentence after it, because like swords are extremely dominant in PvP at this time. 65% of players are using swords for the majority of the gameplay. While we are introducing a buff to rocket launchers to make them enticing, we feel the swords do too much damage compared to their other options. Like, yeah, that's cool, but I want to know why it's so important for them, because I kind of understand it, but they don't say this. I want to know why they're taking away things or adding things or nerfing things or buffing things so that we use other things. Why that's so important to them that we don't get stuck in like I get it. So like I'm kind of like talking myself in a circle here. So I get why some of this stuff happens. Like, you can't have Recluse around forever and ever and ever, because it's just, I would never take it off in PvE because it's my favorite gun. I don't have a problem with never taking it off, but for some reason they do. But I've never feel like they've like explicitly said, we don't want you to use the same gun all the way through Destiny. We want you to use other stuff, but then they poorly introduce other stuff like during right now. They haven't in the past. In the past, they've brought good stuff when they said they're going to bring good stuff. Right now, it's like, we're taking all your stuff away and we don't want you to use it, and we want you to use other stuff. But the other stuff that we talked about is not here because we didn't make it. But then also we're going to take the good stuff that we kind of have you use that's kind of good and not let you use it also because it's not as good anymore. And also the mouse and keyboard you're playing on, it's not going to be as good either because I don't know. We're not going to tell you why. We just feel like it. That's what I feel like is happening. And I love them and I want this to be awesome. But in some ways I think the communication, like they do a really good job. Like they send us.
But are they?
Well, I don't know. They put this thing out every week that we read, but it'd be somewhat. I mean, I feel like there's got to be some other sort of communication. Like, I don't know. And then at the same time, through this whole thing that I'm talking about, like we say every single time, there's a pandemic right now. They're not in their studio. They're not with Activision. I have no idea how they work. They don't, like, none of us work there. So how are we supposed to know what's actually happening or what decisions are being made or how they're being made? So I have a hard time. Those are the things that go through my mind whenever everyone's like,
you just want answers
before I tweet something angry, which I never do. But if I did, like I'm thinking those things.
Yeah.
Like they have all these summits. They used to do these summits with the content creators like a few years back, and and like
they could do those on Zoom.
Yeah, I don't see why.
Hit Pattycakes up and have them on there.
I literally mentioned that in the video I just made about it. I feel like I don't know why they don't do this more often. Like even if it is just a Zoom thing, you don't have to fly everyone out to Bungie. I mean, just literally. I mean, I guess it's tough because they're worried about people recording it and whatever. But like still, it's.
True.
Like I mean, even still, you have like NDAs and stuff, right? It's the same things that are protecting, the in-person stuff. So I don't know. It's just I feel like that could happen more often, and I feel like the game is better when the people making the game are in better communication with the very dedicated people who see the problems, most often. So
yeah, I feel like they just are in a rough spot this year, as like they're not going to win basically this year. I don't know if that's true. But like you said, like, and that just made me, as you said that, I didn't even think about the recording of it. Like, it's probably very difficult to do anything digital when it's, I guess if they're showing stuff, it'd be difficult. If it's just them having a conversation, like, hey, community leaders, what do you guys like? Like, what are they saying? What do you, because that makes the most sense. Like, if I was a company, I'd be like pulling in just like any company has like partners that sell their product for them with codes. It's the same thing. Like, they're the people that are out there that know what's good and what's bad. They can give the information. We know what's going on in Destiny. We know what we want. We funnel all the information into different leaders, and then they could go and chat with Bungie and be like, listen, here's the problems we're dealing with. And then if Bungie does anything with it, they do it. And if they don't, then it would just be like, all right, cool. They don't care. And if we realize they don't care, then it'd be a lot less angry. I'd be a lot less angry if you just already knew, oh, they don't give a crap. So whatever. I'll go play Tarkov and sit in a queue for 15 minutes.
Okay. So as I'm scrolling through here, so yeah, they're buffing rockets. They need to, because rockets currently are.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I think they've been bad for a while.
It gives me a reason to use my Eyes of Tomorrow. So yay.
I feel like rockets got hit really hard with that auto loading change they made. Remember, like that was the reason that rockets were good for a while, right? It was that you could just keep shooting them forever, and ever since then they've been rough. Yeah,
I mean, and then fusion rifle usage is very low, so they're increasing the damage fall off, messing with the breach grenade launchers now. So like there's that, and obviously here's the nerfs. Sniper rifle,
increase
sword,
ADS flinch in snipers when taking damage from other players.
All these things, and then as we're mentioning how PvP is taking L's left and right. Being that they're always constantly taking stuff away, maps and all this stuff, and like there's less to do, who wants to play trials. Then they take away, they're pretty much discontinuing Crimson Days. I'll be honest, I did Crimson, I think it was Crimson Doubles, that the event they did only one time back in Destiny 1 when it first came out. Since then, never touched it. So I understand some of the PvP guys are even more miffed about it, because that's one more PvP thing taking away. So, so I guess the question to you, Patty, is, would you, if the Crimson Days event was there and the doubles and all that stuff, did you ever participate in that?
Not too much. Occasionally I'd play with friends. I just never really got that into it, but I do agree.
Like the tower looked nice.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's more like it's more just sad that it's like one more thing going away. But to be completely honest, like if they're taking away resources to put that event out to make something better that's unique and new, then I'm on board with that. Like I'd rather see something new and cool.
Seeing.
Yeah, if there's nothing that goes in place of that type of thing, that'll be sad. But like, you know, if it, like, I personally would rather them devote those resources to something new and interesting as opposed to I never really played Crimson that much, but I know some people are really into it, so you know, I feel bad for them.
I played it the very first season with the Dr. Shabby, like in D1, and that was it. I don't like, I could care less about it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I'm usually busy around, like, February is usually like a really down time for Destiny, to be honest. I feel like if you look at the trends,
between January,
it's usually when I'm playing other games. So I usually last time I missed it completely. I missed it the year before. I'll get in there and do a couple matches and whatever. I'm not interested, so I don't care that it's gone. It kind of makes sense because they did say like it's not hitting the mark for like the quality they want it to be. I don't think it ever did. I think the first season it did, but that's how seasonal events are, like, especially because there's so many seasonal events now. That was like back in the day whenever there wasn't barely any seasonal events.
Well, because you had your October event with Festival, and then you had the Dawning in December. I think you would have your Crimson Days event in February. So like between just right there.
Yeah. You know, and there wasn't seasons either, so like there wasn't that extra content. This was like people look forward to this because there was no other content getting dripped in every 90 days or whatever.
And then after Crimson Days, when we're talking about seasonal events, you didn't have anything until around Moments of Triumph, and that was during the summer. That was the next seasonal event.
Winter is always a rough time for Destiny. I feel like unless April, something good happens in April.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like, look back over the years to see like what seasons actually were the lowest player count, the most like community sentiment of like, you know, this game's bad right now.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see.
I think for Destiny 2 was Curse of Osiris. I think was the lowest point.
Okay, you just got to go to More Consoles YouTube channel and just go look back each year and see where the worst thumbnails are. Well, that's probably the time.
I'm just remembering my own experience. Like, I feel like January through March was when I always would take a break to play other games. Like in D1, it was like I'd switch over to play Battlefield or Call of Duty or whatever. And I remember playing Apex Legends a lot, like 2 years ago, whenever that came out. That was like, I think, right around this time of year. It seems like every year it's like that's when I get one of my big times I get distracted from Destiny and play other things is like around this window. So
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing. I literally last week or whenever it was, I streamed Destiny, and then in the same night I also streamed Tarkov, Warzone, and Apex all in the same 4-hour span. That's like, I'm trying all this stuff because it's like, oh, this is perfect. I love that when this happens, to be honest, because
you know, for you, Luke, as soon as season 13 hits,
it's back to seals, baby.
Back to the grind.
Yeah, because I got all my stuff I needed this season, and it doesn't usually happen that fast. And I always want to get my stuff so that I can go try their games, which is probably dumb. I could try their games if I want, but it's just how I work. And I've been like, ooh, there's not much to do right now, and I'm very thankful for it because it means I can try. I bought FIFA 21. I haven't played FIFA in like 3 years. I used to play it every year, and so I'm going to play it and stream it, and I'm just really excited about that kind of thing, which is a good thing, too, which I would like to encourage the Destiny community to do. Everyone's super angry and mad, but you can
play other games.
You can choose joy and go play other games. There's lots of them.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I started playthroughs on my Twitch. You know, I'm currently going through Days Gone right now. So the only time I jump on Destiny really is on the weekends, Friday and Saturday, to run the raids with my clan. For those who haven't ran the raid already, and that's it. At this point for me, I don't need to really do anything else. I'm at max cap level. I'm well beyond my season pass. You know, I got some weapons. You know, and that's it for me right now.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm a PvE guy, and I'm more interested in the story and the beats on that. You know, so I'm looking forward to like what's going to unfold story wise. So that's the only thing I'm looking forward to really when it comes to season 13.
Yeah,
because I know there's been spoilers out, I believe already, and I've ignored them. Usually I try to seek them out, but like I've stayed away because, you know, people like to data mine things. So like that's basically where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So onwards on this TWAB, the next part, and I want to ask you guys this because this is funny. You know how they're changing the progression system, which I'm excited about. They haven't said what it is, but I'm excited to see like exactly what they're doing progression wise with Crucible and vendors, that kind of stuff. But it says due to the updates to the vendor progression system, Crucible tokens and Crucible token gifts are no longer needed. So like they're going away at the end of the season. Have you guys like how many Crucible tokens do you have, and have you spent the hours to turn them in?
This is painful.
Well, I'll answer first. So I already did the liquidation of my Crucible tokens already a few weeks before they even announced that, actually, because I was trying to farm for a first in, last out. And I think at that time I had over 10,000 tokens.
Wow.
Well, I mean, this is expanding over years and years and years of me never really spending any of them. They're just staying in my vault. Like I never really spent any of my tokens in general. So like I wasn't surprised I had that much to begin with in the last 2-3 years. So I farmed. I spent them. I was farming for that weapon, and I had like 2 drops of it, and not the rolls that I wanted, obviously. So yeah, I did all that. I think it took me an hour to burn through all those Crucible tokens. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Patty?
So this is one of like the worst pieces of news I've seen in a long time, because I've been holding on to my Crucible tokens for a rainy day whenever they would finally put something useful in the thing. And actually I almost like I almost turned in a whole bunch of them on like a stream to try to farm for a True Prophecy like earlier this season, and then of course they took that out like the week I was planning to do it is when they took that out of the pool. So I was like, oh, I guess I won't do that. And so now I have to burn 32,000 tokens at some point before the end of the season. And there's like nothing I can even get that's, interesting. So
just
I'm
legendary shards, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'll probably stream it at some point just to, do a Q&A or something.
For real. That'd be a good,
yeah,
that's a good idea.
mean, I'm pretty like, whatever. It's frustrating because it's like one of those. Okay, so for example, one of the other games I really enjoyed over the last few years is Elder Scrolls Online, where you build up, a whole bunch of gold, and then like you can use that gold to like buy cool things in the game. It's like it's an investment. Anytime you do any activity, you're like accumulating this resource that then is like useful for the future. And I feel like this is one of those. But I think this is one of the big investment problems that Bungie has, is that in Destiny, that like there's nothing you can accumulate that feels valuable. And it's like when there are things like this, like Crucible tokens are like something that you could potentially turn in to get like future stuff that'd be really cool. They take that away. It's just like, come on, man, like give us a reason to like invest in the economy of the game, and it just isn't there. And it seems like
the economy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those just really things where I feel like this game's always on the brink of greatness, and there's just like these like core systems that just like seem so obvious to me to like somehow like revamp, and they're just not there. And it's just another example of that to me. So I'm not that upset about this particular thing. It's more like the meta sense of like my investment in the game is like not valued once again with these tokens. So that
does hurt me deep, because we invest a lot more hours in this game than normal human beings. And I like to show for it. And when I have, I think I have 25,000 tokens that I have to sit there and press a button on and get nothing. Well, honestly, I'm looking at it on a positive note. I'm probably gonna have a bunch of enhancement cores, which is good because I'm gonna need those eventually. But I don't know. I'm still I was doing the same thing as you. I was like, eventually they're gonna add a progression system again, and I'll have a level. And I don't even care. Like even that, like for me, I'm simple. Yeah. If there's a level there that shows I'm a 3,000 level Crucible player, that is more important to me than even getting anything.
Well, I think at a core level, that's like the stuff that keeps people playing, right? When you can invest in any MMO, this is like the core of an MMO, is like the feeling that you can invest your time to future-proof your character to become stronger in the future, right? It's like you can buy things with gold or whatever it happens to be in the game, and I feel like something that Bungie's really afraid of for some reason. Like, and I don't really know why, because like that would be a reason to like. Did you guys see the video with EK, his golden vault? He has like like an entire vault of stuff. Could you imagine like if they like deprecated like previously like masterworked exotic weapons? For people who haven't seen, he has like an entire vault full of things that are like exotics that are masterworked
like
all the way. It's like
of them.
Insanity. But like because he does grandmasters like literally like all day every day.
He
like,
knows he's got it. He does them so much it's at the top of his screen how many grandmasters he's done.
Yeah, it's like in the thousands. But like, can you imagine like if they like, oh well, you don't get any shards from dismantling those anymore or whatever. It's just like those are like big problems to me, where like like a core tenet of an MMO game is that it's like your character, and you invest just like in the real world. You invest in like, you know, trying to make more money so you can buy cool stuff. Like, you know, you want that feeling in a game, and it's like a stab in the back when you can't do that to your character because they're always changing the rules on you. So I think it's actually like, to me, it's like a bigger deal, not because of this particular thing, but just like the lack of like, I don't know, the lack of feeling rewarded for investing your time into playing the game.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I don't try to invest too much, because who knows what they're going to change or take away or whatever. I think it's a little bit different on the PvE side, because it seems like a lot of things get affected because of the PvP stuff. So I don't know. It seems like, and I don't mean this in a negative way when I say this, but it seems like the core issue is the PvP. And like you guys were saying, give us something. Tell us something. Tell us how you're going to fix it. Give us something. Don't tell us what you're going to do with weapons. Don't tell. I mean, I think that's what's more. Pardon my French when I say this, pisses the PvP guys off. Is like, again, you take all these things, you're taking more things, you're taking tokens. I mean, yeah, you're giving us this leveling system, I guess, progression system, but like, again, the priority list is back to the priority list. Like, this is all fine and dandy, but is it really that important compared to the other problems and everything else? And it's just,
yeah,
I have their priorities.
I think the problem, like speaking just as a PvP focused player, is that I actually feel like PvP should be a lot easier to satisfy the player base with, because it's inherently a repeatable activity where the novelty comes from playing other players. You know, it's like, it's not like a PvE thing where like you kind of need new bosses, new enemies, new things to keep it interesting. Like PvP is just interesting inherently because it's player versus player, right? There's always different skill levels and different weapons you can use. But the problem is that there's like these core problems with the mode where there's like, you know, these things like we talked about, cheaters, 3-peaking, that kind of stuff. But then there's also like, you know, like bad connections sometimes. Like I just want like a pure connection based system where it just feels good to play. Like I can't tell you how many times this season, which it seems like worse than before for some reason, like I'll shoot someone 5, 6, 7 times on my screen. I'm clearly hitting them and it just doesn't do anything. And then they like lag across their, and it's like, that shouldn't be a problem. You know, even with a lower player base like we have now, like we should still, you know, playing prime time, like there should be 12 people in a game who have decent connection to each other. That's like kind of a crazy problem to have. So there's just things like that it's like, I don't think the PvP player base even really needs that much to be happy, but like they're not getting the things that they want. Even like also like a matchmaking ladder for competitive that has like cosmetic rewards attached to it. Like that would be in theory like a fairly simple system to design and would keep people really engaged with playing like a competitive mode all the time. But it's just like there's no incentive to like, you know, grind like to the highest rank, because you can get to legend in 4 hours. Like it's just, you know, it's like there's no depth to it. So
give you a reason to play.
Yeah,
give me that carrot to chase. That's
so. But I feel like it, like in theory it would be so simple to like create, and I'm not a developer and I'm sure there's like things that I really don't understand about it, but it's just, I think that's the frustration, is like when it feels like it would be easy and then you don't see like progress towards things like that. I think that's where people get frustrated.
Yeah, again, we'll complain about this in next week's episode.
Yeah, I've been pumped about this though. I think talking this stuff out is good.
It's therapeutic. It's therapeutic,
and hopefully for people that are listening, because I know that they're probably feeling the same way. And it's just, you know, we this is why we have a podcast called the Destiny Nerds Podcast. We care so deeply about this video game that we talk about it outside of playing it. And the fun part is bringing on people that are in the community that also want to talk about it. But speaking of community, I was looking, because I always look every week. I don't know how often you, Patty, you know, try to get a movie of the week. have you got one before, or are you still working?
I
have you ever
submitted a few times, but I haven't actually had one. I had a couple that got approved for submission, so that's a step in the right direction.
Yes, your buddy Shadow
just got it. Yeah,
he got one last week, and I was so
he's
excited
actually
to
had
see
a couple of them now. He had one from previous seasons, and then now he got the new Cloudstrike one. So
that's amazing. He's one of the nuttiest controller players I've ever seen. So
he is bonkers. Yeah, he's so good.
Because I was looking here to see, it was like audition tape for Destiny 2 sound effects team, Deep Stone Lullaby, and 5 kills 1 clip. So they're always random. I have had a couple in the making, but haven't submitted them because they were not finished, or the content creator didn't give me a long story. But anyways, I want to win one of those someday. I just was asking you because you do YouTube all the time, so I didn't know if you had.
We'll do a collab sometime. We'll both get it at the same time.
That would be sick. That would be sick.
That'd be dope.
I had to do it.
Yeah, I know. You could clip that out as evidence that he said that he wants to do a collab with you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like force Shadow to collab with me every week until we get one, because he seems to have it figured out.
The 3 of us will make one. Yeah, they'll say you can just do it every single time with him.
So before we end this episode, a thing just popped into my mind that I wanted to ask you, Pat. And I'm sure you get this a lot. The origin of Pattycakes. Now, obviously, your name's Patrick. But like, what made you come up with the? Because I loved So, long story short, so Luke, I hit up Luke earlier this week, and I have a list of guests, but I asked him, is there anybody in particular that you want to hit up? And he goes, hold on, and then he goes, all right, I got Pattycakes, and again, I never heard of the man before that. So with any guest I've never heard of, I look him up, and I stumble upon his Twitch, and I'm like, I see a stack of pancakes. My first thought was, because I didn't click on any VODs or anything. All right, I'm like, is this a VTuber? Is he trying to sign a talking stack of pancakes? Because I'll do it. I mean, if he wants a talking stack of pancakes to, as a guest, I'm cool with that. So look up a VOD, and I'm like, all right, he's got a beard, glasses like me. All right, okay, cool. So after that, I go to I hit up Pat, like, hey, this is the Discord, yada yada yada. All right, so then we meet up every episode. We meet up with our guests to kind of go over the show, list everything, and didn't know that he was primarily a YouTuber. So during all our talk and banter, I go to his YouTube page, and I just like the cleanest thumbnails. I can't get over that. I'm on this page right now. The cleanest thumbnails. It's not all over the place. Again,
thank you.
A stack of pancakes, man. So like, what was the origin of that? Is it just a play on your name? Pancakes.
Yeah, so it's a couple different things. So it is play on my name, of course. My name is Pat or Patrick. I really like pancakes, so that was kind of a natural fit. I had a name on Xbox called Blues Fan Pat. I'm a big hockey fan. I like the St. Louis Blues. That's where I grew up. And so I wanted to kind of transition away from that, though, for content creation, because I didn't, obviously didn't want to use like the Blues logo and stuff. So I kind of needed a new name. And I was like, for some reason, like Googling like cute like pancakes or something. I don't know like what took me down this road, but I remember finding this little artwork for like this little like smiley pancake, and I just thought it was like so funny. And so I used that for a while, and then when I decided to make like kind of content creation like a real thing, my brother did the first like version that I owned, which was like a pixel art version of the Pattycakes logo.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's really good. And so then now it's been through several iterations. Now it's all animated thanks to the Get Wrecked Labs guys. They just did a really good job.
Your rework
doing that
looks
stuff.
good.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Those guys are really fun to work with. So anyway, it's been through several iterations, but now it's kind of its own thing.
This is
I mean, I'll have to become a VTuber at some point, I suppose. Right?
I mean, that's crazy when I'm seeing them pop up over the place. Like I said, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Like,
yeah. Maybe that should be like, how you have on Twitch, you can have the different like channel point rewards, like up to maybe that'll be like my like I don't know, like 1 million point turn in. It's like I'll like rig up like a VTuber setup.
Some people like some streamers don't like to have a camera on sometimes. Maybe you don't feel like being on camera. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna be a stack of pancakes tonight.
That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah.
Like I mean, you're giving the people somewhat.
That's pretty funny. I wonder how complicated it would be to set that up. We'll have to. If anyone knows how to do that, let me know.
most people.
I'd love to just see a little Pancake's mouth moving.
That
What's
would
up,
actually be
everybody?
so
It's me,
funny.
Pattycakes.
Yeah.
You go backwards. You delete any possible anything that has your actual face in it, and then no one knows. And then 10 years from now, you'll do a face reveal.
I think you play off of that.
I like this.
Also,
See, we're giving you these
I should
ideas.
have thought about this from the beginning, man. Now my face is all out there.
it needs to be. It's important, okay? So
Yeah.
the last one more like Destiny related thing at the very end of this, which is a tweet, which is exciting for everyone. This is great news. If this tweet gets 7 likes, we'll add a new LZ on Europa next season. And it definitely got more than 7 likes.
Overdue. Long overdue.
Yeah.
No more.
They'll hear the community cry about that.
I can hear the
No,
PvP people now. Oh my gosh, they never listen to us. Like, I mean,
Destiny is saved.
it's saved.
Man.
And the
Oh,
cool,
that's great. I'm
the cool
happy
thing
about
is,
that one.
the cool thing is, we should be hearing. I mean, is the new season next week or as
No,
of this
the
recording?
You said the 9th, right?
We get a trailer early Tuesday morning for
Dang.
this season.
So there's
And then
stuff
the
coming.
following Tuesday is the new season. So the 9th is the new season. So
I know nothing. Like, I have no idea what's happening next. So I didn't look up nothing. I'm going to now.
I'm like in
but-
I'm in the dark too. I kind of like intentionally don't look up spoilers as much. I mean, I did a little bit for Beyond Light because I mean there's just so much cool stuff coming. But for the most part, I like to just kind of experience it and be surprised. So
Yeah. We need some of that hype because that honestly trailers bring people back in. Like,
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I got to get back in and finish stuff. I
that's
was
one thing
working on.
Bungie does right.
they do. They're the hype kings. They're so good.
They do it. Like, we get mad and then they drop this like sickest trailer. Like, dude, oh my god, do you see that weapon? And you see
Yeah.
like a bunch of content creators. What could this weapon possibly be? And you see like it just So they got that down. We'll
They
give them
do.
that. They get built the hype. But speaking of hype, speaking of content creators, we're gonna end this episode. But Pat, is there anything in the works? I know you do YouTube, so like, do you have any projects or anything you're working on video wise that's gonna be coming out soon?
Oh man.
Anything you want to plug? I mean, the floor is yours. Take as much time as you want. You can plug everything. Go ahead.
I've got a whole bunch of different videos, all kinds of different things I'm working on. I'm doing some kind of more of like funny edits of stream content. I'm doing some bigger projects. One of the things my channel is somewhat well known for is different tier lists, and I'm working on like a hand cannon tier list coming out sometime. I think I'm gonna wait until the new season, just because I want to see like if we get any new hand cannons. It seems like it makes sense to kind of evaluate those first. But like I've got that in the works. Just a whole bunch of different videos. I've been trying out a couple. I normally edit everything myself, but I've been working with a couple new editors to kind of speed things up so I can get content out a little faster. So that's kind of been fun to try to get workflow with other people involved. And you can find me there at youtube.com/pattycakesgaming is the best place for that. I also stream usually a couple days a week. That's twitch.tv/pattycakespc. And then I'm on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that is pattycakesgg. It's my tag over there. But I actually have been working with an editor to try to do like some unique content for like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. So that's kind of a fun thing to start trying to work on as well. It's kind of new
I'm
stuff.
excited to see all this content because
I dropped you a sub.
Thank you. Yeah.
especially TikTok. I want to see what kind of TikToks you can make.
Yeah, I mean, it's so far I've probably just more or less stream content kind of repurposed, but like I actually have some ideas for like unique stuff I want to create at some point. So that's kind of my plan now. Is I'm trying to like the first like year was just kind of like testing out the content creation, just seeing if I liked it or not. The second year was like about trying to turn it into like a real thing, which luckily I was able to kind of make that happen. And then now I think this year is more about like experimenting, growing a team, trying to like kind of get things out there faster and iterate more quickly. So kind of what I'm focused on for this year.
Right on. Well, again, guys, if you're listening live or you're listening audio or watching the VOD of this podcast, definitely check out the links, check out all the stuff, drop them a follow, drop them a subscribe, all that stuff. But Luke, I think that's it for
that was fun.
That was fun. Again, Pat, thank you for being here. We would love to have you again in the future if you'll.
Of course, yeah, it's a great time.
Yes.
Again, just a reminder to everybody: if you're here live watching the podcast, or if you're watching it on the go, or watching the VOD over on our YouTube, again, after every episode, we move the VOD over to our YouTube channel. If you like listening to podcasts on the go, like most people do, we upload that bad boy to Anchor, and Anchor is cool, and they distribute it to other platforms: Spotify, Google Music, Amazon, etc., etc. Apple Music. I got it this time, Luke. Apple
Podcasts, Apple Podcasts.
But yeah, we try to do as best as we can with distributing that as quick as possible. So again, follow those, subscribe to those, so you never miss a podcast ever again. So, Luke, this one's in the books, man.
We did it.
That's it.
Episode 10's over. I'm Bearded Luke. You can follow me. You can follow me on twitch.tv/BeardedLuke or find me on YouTube, youtube.com/BeardedLuke. I make Pokemon videos and filmmaking videos and vlogs, and there's nothing on there that is consistent, but it is fun.
That's one thing, yeah. He makes them fun. He makes them fun. As for me, again, I stream obviously Monday through Saturday, 9 p.m. Central. Play a lot of Destiny, obviously, but I do play horror games as well. Actually playing Days Gone right now, and I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Great game.
Yeah, so far so good with that. So with that being said, guys, have a great night, nerds, and we'll see you next
We'll
Sunday.
see you next time. Thank you, Patty, for being here. Honestly, it was an honor. It was an honor.
Fun times. Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
We'll see all of you next week. Bye.